Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I'm your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. Whew. As always, thank you so much to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for commenting, and watching again. Last week, we kicked off our Why Not series, and we had special guest marquees. So I must admit, I have really been challenging myself this month because I can't sit here and tell you all why not and not get myself together. So I'm on a hot seat right with you. We are all in this together. So I have a goal to meet by the end of the month, and I'll let you know if I made it. I'm not a liar, so I'm telling the truth if I did it or if I didn't do it. And I hope you'll tell me too if you started something that you wanted to start as well. So, in this last week, I was reflecting on the story of the drowning man. Have you heard the story of the drowning man? So, a fellow, he was stuck on a rooftop in a flood. He was praying to God for help. Soon, a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." The stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay. I'm praying to God. He is going to save me." So the rowboat went on. Then a motorboat came by. The fellow in the motorboat shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." To the stranded man, he said, "No thanks, I'm praying to God, and he is going to save me. I have faith." So the motorboat went on. Then a helicopter came by, and the pilot shouted down, "Grab this rope and I will lift you to safety." To this, the stranded man replied, "No thanks. I am praying to God, and he is going to save me. I have faith." So the helicopter reluctantly flew away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop, and the man drowned. He then went to heaven, and he finally got his chance to discuss the whole situation with God. At this point, he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, but you didn't save me. You let me drown. I don't understand why." To this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. What more did you expect?" And you know that story? Sometimes God sends people, places, and things to help us, but we think that he's going to crack the sky and come on down. He uses people. So who has come by and given you words of encouragement and motivation to push you when you still said, "I'm going to wait. I'm praying to God. I have faith"? There are times that we share our story and the words we hear aren't the words we want to hear. But as you hear them over and over, you tend to actually, after a while, wonder. And I felt like this man on the roof. God is telling me to take some next steps, but for whatever the reason, I'm hesitant. So again, why are we not marching forward? Me included. And I hope again by the end of this night, by the end of this week, by the end of this month, this year, that we have obtained some goals that we have set out to achieve. Let us not be like the man on the roof. When somebody is coming to help us, let's embrace that help, okay? This weekend, I was honored to share on the amazingness that is happening with Chosen. And, you know, I got a little teary-eyed because we have truly, truly come a far, far way. And I am so grateful for taking this step to help the community. So grateful to my amazing team, Shanta and Lisa, who push, follow, and help us on this journey. But guess what? There's more. And I can't stop. And guess what? Neither can you. So as we continue to empower others, we want you to also head on over. I'm going to put a plug in because we're having a day of empowerment, okay? So on Saturday, May 15th, we will host a day of empowerment. And I am truly, truly excited. We have some amazing speakers lined up. We have some amazing speakers lined up. And guess what? I have another sponsor ticket. So if you pay attention, keep your ears to the speaker so you can hear what the keyword of tonight is. Because at the end of the night, that ticket may be for you. If not, please head on over to Eventbrite and support a sister, okay? Whew. So tonight, second night of our Why Not series, and we're going to be talking about fulfilling your purpose. And it may seem overwhelming at times, but once you get in the water, once you're utilizing the tools, you can swim a little bit. So tonight, and continuing this motivational series, we have Phill Yacinthe, the founder of the Phill Company. His company's primary focus is on providing personal as well as professional development for middle school to college students ages 12 to 25. So help me introduce Phill Yacinthe. Woo! Good evening, good evening.
What's going on, Jen? How you
Oh,
doing?
it's going well. It's going well. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. I'm so excited for you and what you're doing. I'm so proud of you, and I'm just excited. So congratulations on everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being a guest. We're going to talk about tonight how to fulfill our purpose. I like that. We're going to play on your company, the Fulfill Company, right?
The
I
Fulfill
almost said it
Company.
wrong. The Fulfill Company. All right. So here at Gen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Again, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And that quote is from Auntie Maya. Phil, what are your thoughts on that quote?
I love Auntie Maya's quote because I got that quote right behind me. So love it.
Hmm. Did you set up that on purpose to be by this quote?
You know what? I think you stole my quote, by the way, because I live by that quote. And that's one of the messages I share with young people who
Mhm.
are always trying to conform, and I always try to encourage them to embrace who they are. So I love that quote.
Yes, it's definitely good. We will never know how amazing we could be. So we want to find out how amazing we could be. And tonight we're going to talk about fulfilling our purpose.
We are.
So, as always, chosen friends, I've prepared some questions. But if you have any questions, any comments, be sure to drop them down in the comment section and I'll be sure to get to them. I hope I'll get to them. If I don't, I apologize. So, Phil, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. I was born from two Haitian immigrant parents. They came here in 1962 for a better life. They went to Brooklyn, New York. A couple years later, they ended up moving to Boston for an even better life. I grew up in a household of five. I'm the second youngest. So two older sisters, an older brother, me, and then my younger sister. And we grew up in a traditional Haitian household. So that means a lot of Jesus and more Jesus.
Okay.
That's kind of the household I grew up in, and being that I grew up in a household full of women, I learned to just keep my mouth shut and let them do their thing and work their magic. So
Got it. Got it. All right. Thank you for sharing. Now, let's talk about your company, the Fulfill Company. What led to the birth of the Fulfill Company?
wow. So in the Haitian culture, this is kind of a long explanation, but I think it's important for everyone to understand. So in the Haitian culture, in order to become successful, they feel like you have to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, work with computers, or brace yourself. They feel like if you are half well spoken and you halfway carry yourself decently, they feel like you got to be a pastor. And as crazy as that sounds, I actually, minus the pastor part, the other four professions I thought growing up, I thought that's what I was going to do. So I went to school. I went to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst for my undergrad, and I actually listened to what my parents were saying. So engineering was my first major. I did that for literally one day. Found out I wasn't about that life. Um, I ended up declaring to be a computer science major, did that for 10 days. We got to a class on coding, found out I wasn't about that life.
Wait a minute.
Um, yeah, it's all going to tie in. So I was
Okay.
kind of falling into, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I was just kind of following what Haitian culture said you needed to be.
Mhm.
So ended up going into the sport industry, thought I was going to do that. Ended up going into analytics, thought I was going to do that. And then in the process, I was just very active in the community, working on different nonprofit boards, ended up getting a chance to engage with young people. And when I speak to young people, I'm always curious to know where their heads are at, and a lot of these kids want to be amazing things, but I found that they were allowing their circumstances to really keep them from moving
Mhm.
forward to fulfill their purpose, and they wanted to be the doctors, they wanted to be the lawyers, they wanted to be work in politics, whatever it is they wanted to do. But because they came from a single parent home, or because, they were a female, just because of, whatever race they were allowing all these circumstances to keep them from pursuing what it is they were called to be. So in other words, they weren't going to fulfill their purpose. So, I felt like I had an obligation to develop the Fulfill company, which, again, we're a youth empowerment company. And what we do is we help young people fulfill their purpose by dealing with all the challenges that serve as barriers to them moving forward. So bullying, low self-esteem, racial and social injustice, fear, handling failure, depression, traumatic events, anything that'll block a child or a youth from realizing who they were born and created to be. That's where I come in.
That's good. I learned 2 things from what you were saying. Probably 3. But the first one is definitely that explore piece of really finding out what it is that you want to do. So you're told by your parents what it is you're supposed to do, but you still have to find out what it is you want to do. Because again, we're talking about fulfilling your purpose. If being an engineer is not for you, please don't go in that field.
No, don't do it.
Being a doctor, it's not for you. Don't go in that field. You gotta know what it is that you like to do.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so my second one was, don't allow circumstances to stop you. That's a good one. Because sometimes we feel like, well, I was raised this way, or we didn't have it growing up, or whatever we want to fill in the gap with. And that sometimes we allow that to limit us. And when we really take that and go forward with that.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think a lot of times we make the mistake of comparing ourselves to other people too. And we look at people who are so great in certain areas and we think they have it all together. And we really don't know their story. We don't understand their struggles. And we look at the finished product, but we don't really understand what the process was for them to get to that point. The failures they dealt with, all the mistakes they made, all the flaws they have, have. They're very flawed individuals, but those individuals didn't allow it to stop them from pursuing and fulfilling their purpose. And that's why I always try to get people to understand that despite all those circumstances, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is you were born and created to do, pursue that thing, work on that thing, discipline yourself to, try to get better in that area. And eventually you find what you were born and created to do. And not many people can say that.
So I like this already because I'm hearing some themes that we talked about last week too. So it all still continues in, finding your purpose, knowing who you are and knowing what skills you have, and then increasing those skills, but also knowing what it is you want to do. I'm going to keep that one too, though. You got to know what it is you want to do. And you have to at least try it out. So you said you tried what for one day?
I did engineering for one day.
Engineer, I wouldn't try it in no day. See, you got more than me. But again, you try it out and find out if that's for you. I didn't have to try nursing and things to find out that wasn't for me. I didn't want to do needles. As a kid, I didn't want to get a needle. So I already knew ahead of time, that's not for Jennifer. Again, you have to know what it is that you will feel comfortable doing. My sister, she could do a needle. If you got a small vein, she could find it. She was trying to prep on me or just telling me how it went, and I was just queasy just watching. So again, you got to know what works for you. Yeah.
Also, Jen, I feel like you have to be honest with yourself too, because I think a lot of times there are things we desire and things we want to do, but we're not anointed to be in that area. I know a lot of people who are great singers in the shower, but there's no way they should be doing it outside of that shower. So you have to be very honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, and then you can't be sensitive too. If you have friends that love you and they're saying, listen, that's not, that's not your lane, stay out of that lane. You have to receive that too, because they're trying to prevent you from making a fool of yourself. So you also have to, seek wise counsel and have those people in your life that aren't going to always be yes men. They're always, but they're going to be honest with you and say, listen, I think you should go a different route.
So I knew this was coming from Sherry with the microphone, because too often, they say when you're in the shower, the acoustics is good and you really sound good. Or to you sound good. And they got like the memes where it's like a Mariah Carey song and the person is singing and that's what they hear. But when you really stop the record, you hear a broken record. But people want to explore their dreams, and it's okay to It's a gospel artist. I'm not going to throw his name out there, but he also knows that he can't sing. He has said he can't sing. However, he has made millions. Maybe not millions. Maybe I speak into his life, but he's made money with his group because he can pull singers together. He has an ear for it, even though he's still not a singer. So it's possible to make it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he was singing the lead on all them songs, no. But again, knowing the truth, being honest with yourself, that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So please, chosen friends, be honest with yourselves. If you're really a singer, sing on. If you're not, sing solo. We can barely hear you.
Listen, I'm a sport guy, and I watch sports with people, and there are guys. So I'll give you an example. So in basketball, there's 15 people on the roster. There's 12 people that are dressed, right? Typically, 4 or 5, probably like 3 to 4 players don't play in the games. And a lot of times people are like, man, they're scrubs. I could play in the NBA, and they all this crazy stuff. Listen, just because you do well on the playground with your friends, it doesn't mean that you can actually play on that level. So you just got to be honest with yourself, and a lot of people struggle with that.
Very true. Todd said, also, once you know and find your passion, you have to protect it to fully achieve it.
Oh boy, yeah, Todd, that's
great words.
Yeah, that's so true, Todd. It really is.
You have to protect it, because let's talk about that. Because sometimes you could want to do something, and because people don't see it in you to do it, they could talk negative, they could down you, make you feel like you're less than. And it's something that you really, really have a passion to do. So sometimes, like to tell some, keep some, always have some. You can't tell everybody what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so true. Even with the Phill company, it's something I had to, keep secret for, at least a couple of years. I'll say this. So one of my passions is sports. My passions are sports and helping people. But I remember being younger, and all I wanted to do was watch sports. And it wasn't just for the actual game. I was fascinated with everything involved in it: the athleticism, the business side of sports, the marketing side of sports. I loved everything. But because my family couldn't understand that, it would get on their nerves. They're like, oh, well, Phil's watching sports again. It was my gift. I was feeding my gift. And if like Todd said, if I didn't protect it, I would have been giving up what my gift was, and I ended up working in the sport industry. And, for real, if I really wanted to, I could have gone really far in the sport industry. But I didn't want to, that wasn't my passion to work in the sport industry. Sports is my passion, but I didn't want to work in the sport industry. So had I listened to my family, who were saying, oh, here he goes again, turn it off, I wouldn't have been feeding my gift, So Todd's right. You definitely have to protect it.
Now, hold on. My god sister said Kirk Franklin. I didn't say no names.
Oh, see, I wasn't even going to drop his name. I
was thinking of somebody else actually, but he may or may not be one.
Well, Gene, I was thinking of Kirk Franklin.
But he making money. He has put some people on the map because he has the air. He can play. So again, knowing what your lane is, stay in your lane. Yeah. And again, he's not singing all solos. He's doing a little bit more talking. All my people say, that's how you got to do it. So in sharing of that, you kind of shared, but I want to talk about some why not moments. So what made you say, yes, I will still pursue this, even though they're like, here he is watching other sports. Here he is doing this. What made you still consider, maybe I can still do this?
I just knew this is, I know what my superpower is, right? And I knew this is what I was supposed to be doing. It made no sense that my family didn't understand it. My friends didn't understand it. I just knew it. I knew I was born to, I didn't necessarily know what my purpose was for many, many years. But I knew I was, it was going to be something involving sports. It was going to be something involving helping people. And I spent years and years just kind of, figuring things out and trying new things out and being bad at certain things and say, okay, well, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Trying this and, okay, I was okay with it, but I didn't really love it. I didn't really like it. And then, you're just kind of, trial and error and just kind of figuring things out. So I knew for a fact that, this was something in the works. I didn't know what the name was going to be. I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing, but I knew I was supposed to, you know, be in my gift to help people in some way. And again, I didn't know exactly what that was. So, you know, when negativity was coming or criticism was coming, you know, I blocked out all that noise. I ignored all the noise because I knew at some point it was going to be manifested and it was going to come to fruition. I just didn't know when. And now that people see what I'm doing, especially, you know, family members, now they're like, oh man, I knew this from the jump. You know, they act like they knew from the jump. But you know, I just knew what I was born to do.
Mm. It's always interesting when I was trying to get myself together, you hated on me, and then when I got myself together, I knew it all along. I knew it. That baby's gonna go fall. That baby's gonna be this. That baby's gonna be that.
That's how it is. I mean, that's how it always is. You look at anyone who's had significant success. I'm not saying they had no one believe in them, but a lot of times, you know, people, you know, they can't see it's because it's not your vision. You can't see what they can see, you know, and because you can't see it and you don't understand it, you start saying there's no way you can do that. And they mean well, but you know, it's for you to, it's your vision. It's what was given to you, you know. So now everyone's acting like they're, you know, we knew it from the jump, and that's fine. You know, you got to let people be great.
You got to let people be great. So I saw this meme a little while ago, or a story that someone had posted, or it was a skit. Nevertheless, the lady was saying her significant other wanted to be an astronaut. She said, child, he going to be an astronaut. I made him a suit. I told him, go out there and be the best astronaut you could be. Now, on the other side, she didn't believe that he could be an astronaut. But she also didn't want to kill the dream he had. So she made him a suit, got him ready, pumped him up, and he was able to go out the door with that suit on. I don't know where he was going. It wasn't Halloween, but he went. And that's so important because so many times we're telling people some gems about ourselves, some intimate parts of ourselves. And when they don't receive it well, one, we either shut down. Well, it's a whole bunch of different things. We shut down. We feel like maybe we can't do it. We try to do it and, you know, give up on ourselves because we're rolling in our minds of what it is that they said. But it's so important when we have somebody that can say, yes, you can do anything you want to be. And I encourage all of our chosen friends, if you have children, grandchildren, children you have taken in, encourage them to do whatever it is that they're trying to do. Hey, they may try it out and find out after that one day it's not for them. After that 10th day, it's not for them. But the key is to try to help them to explore whatever it is that they want to do, by encouraging them and letting them know, hey, why not? You sure can?
Yeah, it's so true.
In the end, they'll remember that. You didn't believe in me, but now you want a couple dollars because I done really made it. That's not fair.
Yeah, and I think there's always a win-win, even when they, you know, fall on their face or they fail. You know, there's so many lessons in failure. You know, so I think it's important for us to really believe in them and really encourage them and support them. And in the process of their failures, or, you know, them discovering what they like and what they dislike, you know, you're going to sort of discover that, you know, your purpose. You're going to discover what fulfills you in, you know, just constantly, you know, staying active and trying different things. So I think it is important for us, especially with kids. You know, we want to believe in them. We definitely want to encourage them to try new things. And in the process of them trying, they're going to find out, you know, what fulfills them.
What fulfills you? That's good. So on Mondays, I try to relax a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But these last couple of Mondays, I've been like working a little longer, or just working on a different task, or not resting like I tried to or did in the beginning when I first started. However, when it's like 7:50-ish, 7:55-ish, 8 o'clock, bam, it's like this energy comes over me and I'm like, good to go. You can't tell I'm tired. Sis is tired. And when this is over, I probably won't be on a high as long as I normally am after Monday nights. But it fulfills my purpose. It brings me joy to be able to do this. So that's the most amazing part too. Last week we talked about it gives you life. You know, it helps you to be encouraged, inspired. Like that's how you know it's something that you like doing. People that like to cook. You get in there, you could be eyes closed, throwing stuff together. It's something that you enjoy doing, seeing the fulfillment of other people and their smiles because they're happy, because they're eating something that's good. Prayerfully it's good. If it's not good, please keep it to yourself. But that's how you're in something that you really enjoy doing, because it brings that fulfillment, it brings that joy, it brings that life, and let you know, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Just this past last Monday, I've implemented. I have some one of my programs are in the Norristown School District, and the contract calls for me to teach 3 motivational sessions, so 3 classes back to back to back for an hour. And one of the teachers, so it's motivation, so it's energy, And one of the teachers said to me, Phill, I don't know how you do it. I said, what are you talking about? He says, how do you give that much energy for 3 consecutive classes? And actually last year when I was working with them, it was 6 classes. So this is the second year he's seeing me, and he's amazed by how much energy I'm able to push out. And the reason why, what he doesn't understand is it's tough for you because that's not your purpose. It's easy for me because just like you, 10 minutes beforehand, I might, be a little sluggish. I might be, I might not have any, energy, but once the lights are on and I'm jumping into what I love and what I'm purposed to do, I have all this energy, I have all this passion, I have all this excitement, And so you're right. When you find what you were born and created to do, it's like a never ending, jolt of adrenaline that you always have on reserve when you're walking in your purpose and doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Very good. I enjoy it. And it could be anything, it could be a plumber. They love, getting unclogged toilets and things of that sort. They find joy in it, or it's a challenge. And where can I find it today? It could be, again, it could be that cook, it could be that teacher, whatever it is. What new challenge awaits me today that I can figure out? Mathematicians, not my speed, but they get excited about trying to figure out how A equals Z or whatever the equations are, EMC squared, something like that. It's not my field, but they find joy in it. Researchers, reading stuff all day.
Yeah, it's so true. A good friend of mine is a lawyer, and how the fine print, when it comes to contracts. And now I'm not even gonna lie, I don't read that small print and the 32 pages of it. She will actually read all of it. She loves law. She's fascinated by it. And she will literally sit there and read line by line and let page, 23, line 1A, blah, blah, blah. She, that's her passion, and I stay in my lane. That's just not my gift.
Got it. So it sounds like I can send you a contract and I can put some fine print and I can work it out. Gotcha. Gotcha. But again, you got to find what it is you like, editing books. Sometimes I enjoy that. Not all. Yeah.
Yeah. Be careful.
Yep. But I enjoy doing that. I remember, as a kid going to the library, getting a book. I was like, oh, this is wrong. Marking up the library book. I'm so sorry. Library on 52nd and Sampson. I wrote in your book a couple of times. But it's something that you enjoy doing. And it, no holds barred. You want to just do it. So again, find what it is that brings you joy and brings you life.
Absolutely.
So we have a question. Sherry said, what was a positive support system that you could rely on when you were building your organization?
Ooh, definitely. I had just a small handful of friends who got it. They understood, what they got what I was supposed to be doing, what I was purposed to do. But I didn't have a lot of people who were very supportive. So I got my support from books. I would read other successful people. I found a lot of encouragement reading about their story. Reading about their story let me know that all the things I was dealing with was part of the journey. It was part of the process. And because of all that, it really encouraged me and it brought a lot of positivity. But, I definitely had a small circle of friends who were really supporting me and, kind of pushing forward. But then, I had certain family members who didn't necessarily believe in me. So I sort of had to distance myself when it came to talking about what I was doing. Every time I
Mhm.
connected with them, we would talk about family stuff. We would talk about my nieces, my nephews, my mom, stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
just made sure I was intentional about not talking about it, because then they would try to discourage me about, things that they didn't necessarily understand and they weren't supposed to understand. So again, surrounding myself with a very small group of people who were encouraging me and supporting me, and then also books for sure.
Mm. Mm. Good. Sherry has another question.
Okay.
How do you motivate yourself to keep going when you have moments of discouragement?
Yeah, I'm the theme here is going to be books. So I am fascinated by um other people's journey.
Mm.
And again, when I see they've gone through discouragement, um, it just lets me know I'm on the right path. But I do have,
Mm.
those people that still support me. But what motivates me is the impact I'm making in the lives of young people. I can't tell, I'm going to say the lives of people, because I speak to young people, but I can't tell you how many times teachers and administrative staff, the people who are there witnessing, my sessions. I can't tell you how many times they've emailed me to let me know how much I've encouraged them.
Mhm.
They're going through some things, and how many times kids, pre-pandemic would walk up to me and kind of share that, they were kind of struggling with things going on in their lives, and all those testimonies are things that encourage me on those days where I do feel like, every once in a while you might get a little discouraged. Maybe
Mhm.
there's a deal you thought was going to go through, and you were going to be able to work in a district, and you went through the whole process, and you think it's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. Yeah, sometimes you can get discouraged or disappointed. So, I think the impact I'm making when the kids are talking to me and other people are talking to me and just talking about how inspired they are and how motivated they are from what I'm doing, a lot of times that lifts me from the discouragement I might be feeling.
Mm. So you sharing that you're in the schools and things like that. So how did this come about? Was this what you went to school for? How did it shift? How did it change? Was it accepted by your family once they found out that it was going well, since that wasn't on the list per se that they said you should have?
Yeah, no. So I actually, again, the engineering, the computer science, when I finally made a decision on what I wanted to do, it actually
Mhm.
ended up being in sport management. So
Okay.
my undergrad degree is actually in sport management. And, I think I may have mentioned it earlier. I ended up getting into the field of analytics, ended up liking analytics, decided I wasn't going to do the sport industry anymore. And then ended up getting my MBA in it. So I thought that analytics was going to be something that I was going to do, and that didn't happen. So it just got to a point where you asked me, like, how did I get involved? You said.
Right, because that's not what you went to school for. So how did you like shift gears and pivot to say this is what I want to do?
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I was already doing it, and I didn't even know I was doing it. So
Hmm.
speaking to friends,
Hold
they
on.
would talk.
I was already doing it and didn't even know I was doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Having
That right there
conversations with
alone.
friends. Yeah. Having a conversation with friends, and they would be, talking about some of the struggles they were dealing with, and I would be, encouraging them and coaching them, and, letting them know that, okay, if you're not happy in your career, what do you like to do? What excites you? And I started figuring out that I was kind of doing what I'm doing now. And in that process, what ended up happening was, I had been working on a lot of different, nonprofit boards, and been, being exposed to so many initiatives involving youth. I knew I always wanted to do something related to that. I just didn't know. And actually, what happened was in 2017, I was actually in South Africa, and I had a conversation with one of my professors, and I was explaining to him what I wanted to do. Now he was a professor of supply management.
Hmm.
So he was like, well, how are you going to monetize that? And I was like, I don't even care about that right now, but this is just something I want to do.
Hmm.
So, he gave me really wise counsel and was like, well, this is what you should do. Just think about it. And if you still want to do it, then move forward.
Hmm.
2018, that same professor, I saw him in Dubai, and I told him I still wanted to do it. And he's like, listen, if you're this passionate about it, I think you should go ahead and do it.
Hmm.
And so, I ended up, just kind of starting it. And I think the reason I was so comfortable in starting it was because, again, friends had reminded me that, listen, you've been doing this for years. You just
Hmm.
never made it official. And so I was already doing it. And, that's how the Phill company ended up getting birthed. So
Chosen friends. I'm writing notes. What have you been doing for years?
what have I been doing for
No,
years?
I'm asking my chosen friends that are tuned in.
Okay.
What have you been doing for years? Because normally that's what you want to do. Because that helps you to fulfill your purpose. That's a good one. So now you've become a motivational speaker or doing some things in the school workshops. What are those? What has been the lane that really has brought in income or really has kept you busy?
Yeah, so I guess I'm a motivational speaker. I like to say I'm an inspirational speaker
Okay,
as
I'm
well
sorry.
because yes,
Inspirational.
that's okay. There's a difference,
It
So
is. You're right.
there's motivation for sure. Yes, I do motivate people, but I also want to inspire them, right? I want to light
Yeah.
that flame inside of them,
Yes.
that's going to burn so greatly that it's going to
Mm,
inspire them to want to seek and find
absolutely.
that thing that fulfills their purpose. What were they born and created to do?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, some of the sessions I educate on involve personal and professional development as well as life coaching. So we talk about things like, again, the importance of believing in yourself. We talk about overcoming adversity. Obviously, with the pandemic that's been going on, these kids are struggling right now. They're
Mm-hmm.
struggling with the isolation, and even the teachers are struggling with
Right.
with things going with what's going on with the pandemic. So just educating them on overcoming adversity, educating them on leadership, right? Setting the example, not being a follower, but being a leader instead. We talk about failure. A lot of times kids don't understand that there's gold in failure. It's actually good when you fail because there's so many lessons in it. And
Mm-hmm.
having the courage to take a risk and potentially looking stupid or potentially looking like you're a failure, like there's so much gold in it. So educating kids on the importance of failure, educating kids on the importance of who you surround yourself with, your friends,
Mm-hmm.
peer pressure, just a variety of different things we do. So we do it in a motivational format, but there's just certain topics we touch on to kind of help the kids deal with those issues so they can move forward and perform not just academically, but also on a personal and eventually professional level.
So good, so good. We got a chosen friend that's saying, I'm feeling inspired and empowered. That means you're doing a good job, Phill.
All right.
You're
Like
fulfilling your purpose on tonight. So after I love the thing of doing what it is that you enjoy doing. But it's even more amazing when you can do it and get paid for it. That's actually how I got into doing therapy. I said, people always want to tell me their problems. I can get paid for this.
Yeah.
And then I started getting paid for it. I said, I just volunteer and listen to their problems. I'm teasing. But you find out like this is really joyful. Joyful for me to listen to other people and then work through those things. So to be able to inspire, motivate, help them pivot from stinking thinking to good thinking. It's so empowering to know that, hey, we made a difference in their life. Can you share a time that I'm not sure if you see the children after you have, spoken with them on your platform and things of that sort, but can you share a time where you did hear back from your child or saw the difference in the child of the impact you made in inspiring them?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I spoke at a mental health youth summit just outside of Boston. And again, I always like to connect with the kids. I was the keynote speaker that day, but beforehand, so they had a bunch of activities in different parts of the program. But I was speaking to one kid, and he was talking about how just how much he was dealing with depression,
Mm-hmm.
and how he didn't feel like his family loved him, and he actually was talking about ending his life. And I kind of, now I haven't had that experience where I wanted to end my life, but I have had experiences where I've just dealt with some depressing moments. Starting from when I lost my father. I lost my father when I was 13 years old, and so I didn't want to take my life, but just getting a chance to sit down with him and really connect with him, and I think that just taking the time to listen. It just felt like he just needed someone to listen to him. And
Mm-hmm.
after I listened to him, I was able to sort of remind him of how valuable he was, and just the kind of future he had, that he had for himself once he got through this rough season. And so, he's someone that I'm not saying I saved his life, but I was able to sort of encourage him, and I lost contact with him, but I heard he's doing very well for himself. So so that those little incidents, those situations happen often where kids are just kind of struggling. I have another example where I remember being in a seventh grade, and I was asking the kids, what do they want to be when they get older? And one girl said that she wanted to be Beyonce. And a group of kids just bellowed out and started laughing at her, and she started to cry. And I remember, just kind of stopping the kids from laughing at her. And I told her in front of the class that if that's what you want to be and that's what you want to do, as long as you work hard and really pursue it, and if you're really called to do it too. I mean, she can't sing, but I really just encouraged her, and I think that afterwards, her teacher talked about how it just really lifted her spirits and really made her feel so much better afterwards. So little situations like that happen often.
Yes. And it's in those moments that we make those learning moments. I definitely work with children because they get to laughing and snickering and find out, wait, sis, bro, you don't know everything either. We're all learning. We're all able to explore whatever it is that our hearts desire. Urban Evangelist said, winning the loss easily before I knew what an evangelist was, and counseling. Absolutely. And since you do that with your eyes closed.
Yeah, listen, that's her superpower.
That's her superpower. And the most amazing part is that it's like you find out about the good news, you find out about a good side, you want to bring everybody in. It's like, no, this is what you want to do, and this is why you want to do it. I'm telling you, it's going to be the bomb.com if you come over to this side. And that is in her heart. She bleeds it. That is her superpower.
Yeah, that's her superpower for real.
Yes. So, what are some core pieces we want to know about ourselves? We talked about the honesty piece. We talked about the passion, but are there any other pieces that we should know before we can learn about our purpose? Maybe knowing our likes and gripes, or what are some things, some more things that we want to be aware of other than that honesty piece, and again, knowing what it is you like to do?
Yeah. That passion piece is big. I mean, I think that the passion's important, but you have to have you have to have a desire to want to pursue that passion. If you don't have the discipline, you don't have the work ethic to really pursue that thing that you're passionate about, then it's just a waste. So you have to have a desire. I mean, that's fine. You can discover what your purpose is, but it doesn't stop there. You have to kind of move forward, and really, depending on what it is, you have to study. You have to really work at that thing to really, refine what that gift is so that it can be a blessing to people.
Very good. That's good. So you also shared about the sports piece. So you talked about, or I saw Sports Illustrator. How did that come about? What is that? What is it?
Oh, man. So I have this habit of using sports to illustrate points and to get people to sort of understand, just points I'm trying to make. So I'm going to refrain from really going. I can go on and on with this, but a lot of times what I do is I use sport concepts and I use sport figures to try to, get my point across. So, for example, I'll give you. So here's an example. So in sports, there's something called training camp. Okay. So before football season, before basketball season, there's training camp. So what happens in training camp is before the season starts, they basically have to prepare for the season. So there's a lot of sweat that happens. There's a lot of studying. There's a lot of mental preparation. There's a lot of physical preparation. You got to work out. You got to learn the plays, before the season starts. So you're literally going through a training camp to prepare for the for when the season. You're preparing for the season. So once the season starts, because you went through training camp, you can have success in that season. Okay. So everyone has to go through a training camp before they get to their before they can perform in their season. And that's kind of how it is in life, right? You have to go through a period in life where you're going through preparation, right? You're going through a training camp. You're going through a season where you're preparing so that once the real season comes, you can perform. There's no thinking. You've already prepared for it so you can have success and perform when your actual season comes, if that makes sense.
It does.
Another thing is, there's a word called an athlete, right? So a lot of, people that play sports are considered athletes. But in football, when you're considered an athlete, that means you do all things well, right? So that means, you don't just throw the ball well. You don't just run the ball well. You don't just catch the ball well. You're an athlete. You can do anything. You can play football. You can play basketball. And sometimes, let's talk about church. There are spiritual athletes, right? There are people who seem to be anointed to do everything, right? They can sing, right? They can lead the choir, right? They can play music, they can lead, they can evangelize, they can teach. They're spiritual athletes. They can do so many things. So, and then, when involving like sport figures, a lot of times, I share, try to connect with the kids and impact them. I might share stuff about me. But what I'll do is I might say, I might talk about LeBron James, and I might use LeBron James to say, okay, well, you come from a single parent home and you come from, a household where your father wasn't in your life. Well, guess what? LeBron James didn't have his father in his life. He came from a single parent home as well. So I use sport figures, sport concepts to try to illustrate a point I'm trying to make, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I also appreciate that I was able to understand what your illustration was. Because if you got too technical, I wouldn't have known. I was like, can you break it down? Okay. Let's talk about this training camp. I like this. Because many teams go to training camp, and though they are prepared, sometimes another team went a little harder at training camp, and then they outshine and they get the win when the other team thought that they would get the win. So it's important too with what you're doing in training camp. And sometimes it'll work out in your favor, sometimes it won't. Because again, my team doesn't always win. I'm embracing that though. But I like this athlete too. I feel like I can make that a shirt. I'm a spiritual athlete.
Yeah, you're a spiritual athlete. You can make it. Listen, it could be in music. You have certain people who cannot just sing, but they can play. They can play the guitar. They can play the piano. They can dance. They're spiritual athletes. There's nothing they can't do. There's so many. Staying in your lane. In track and field, there's 8 lanes, right? And when you're running a race, if you don't stay in your lane, you get disqualified. And that's exactly how it is in your life. You have to stay in your lane to be in the race. And if you come out of your lane, it's trouble. You can disqualify yourself from being successful.
That was another good one. Staying in your lane in the race. Because sometimes you try to get into somebody else's lane.
Disqualification. You got to stay in your lane.
Gotta stay in your lane. That's good. Stay in your lane. We got to stay in our lane, children friends. So those were some good examples. Now tell us, I find that consistency is something that really helps you. You're consistent in like posting, you're consistent in sharing, you're consistent in having a social presence where other people can see what it is you're doing. But what are some other, maybe some highs and lows with staying consistent of posting things, or when you don't even feel like doing another video, but you are doing them, or some highs and lows of even one, having a business or fulfilling your purpose with the business? What are some highs and lows you could share?
The highs and lows. Well, the highs for what I do, I can speak for myself. The highs of what I do is I get a chance to walk in my purpose every single day, right? So that's a great thing. And another high is people get a chance to benefit from my gift. I don't think people understand that, your gift really isn't for you. And when it's your gift, there's something different about it coming from you than from someone else. You had mentioned earlier about food, right? You ever think of someone who's gifted to cook, right? They could fix you a sandwich and you're like, oh man, like what is in this sandwich? And they're like, oh, peanut butter and jelly. And you're like, what?
Right.
And then people that aren't gifted for it, they mess up peanut butter and jelly, right?
Oh, it's so mess up peanut butter and jelly.
But when someone's anointed to do it or gifted to do it, it's just different. You ever watch people that get emotional when they meet like a musician or they meet a basketball player? What it is sometimes they're overwhelmed by that person's gift. How that person's gift made them feel It makes them feel like no other person, you know? So when they see like a Michael Jackson or they see like a Beyonce, they're like, wow, your gift it brought me to another mental space. It made me so liberated. It made me so happy, you know? And that's what it is. It's, you know, that's one of the highs of your gift. One of the lows is people are always going to pull on you. You know, whether you feel like it or not, when you have the gift of listening, you have the gift of compassion. People know that, listen, when I speak to Jen, she's a great listener. She makes me feel so good. They'll call you up and be like, Jen, you got a minute? You be like, yeah, I'm real busy. I got this. And they go right into it. Like they don't even care because they want to experience your gift, you know? So that's a low. And then another low is, you know, listen, a lot of times people aren't going to understand your gift. And because people aren't going to understand your gift, that means they're going to criticize you. They're going to misunderstand you. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with the fact that people misunderstand you. So, you know, so that's just some of the highs and some of the lows of in my opinion.
Sometimes they're going to misunderstand you.
A lot of times they're going to misunderstand you, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I was talking to somebody, I think it was today, and we are just talking about how like your intent is to be this ever-loving, sparkling light, bright, shiny day, but somebody still would take it, oh, she doing too much. Oh, why she got to be doing live every Monday? You're absolutely right. Why do I have to? You know, and I went back and forth for myself even before doing it, but it wasn't until I did do it, and it wasn't until I stepped into my purpose to fulfill it, that I was like, wait a minute. This is pretty cool. And then the response that you get from other people. So being careful that even though they can feel like a low, people won't receive it well, still don't let that take away the highs that you get of being fulfilled or energized and excited to be able to be that blessing to somebody else.
Yeah, it's so true. And even, you know, the videos I would post on social media, you know, I would get, some people would reach out to me and feel like and say, you know, how come you're always posting stuff on social media? And it took me a while, by the way, to get to that point where I was comfortable posting on social media, to be really honest with you. But the reason I was doing it is because it was encouraging people, you know, it was inspiring people. And so I wasn't doing it for a whole bunch of likes and a whole bunch of attention. It was, you know, people weren't seeing the people that reach out to me and just talk about how encouraged they are and how, you know, discouraged they were before and how inspired they are. They don't see that, you know, and all of that is all me fulfilling my purpose. And it gives me energy, you know, knowing that people are benefiting from my gift.
Yes. I saw somebody post a while ago. They were talking about they were hesitant in sending out emails or posting and things of that sort. But they realized that Bath and Body Works, to my ladies that get that lovely email because you want those coupons, they send you an email every day. Every day. Sometimes twice a day. But I get a lot of emails from them. I put it in my spam, but every so often I check it out to see what's going on. But what happens is, she said that there will be that one day that they look at it and they'll say, hey, this is just what I needed. And that's what you're posting too. Like, even though it's overwhelming, they're saying whatever, it be that's that one day that somebody watches like, oh, I got to stay in my lane. Oh, I got to get ready in training camp. Oh, I'm a spiritual athlete. Whatever it is, it be that one day that it comes. And then what happens is you're now on the lookout. Now I got to check in again because it's going to be something else that's going to inspire me. It's going to be something that's going to empower me. It's going to be something else that's going to push me and say, hey, you are right on time. And I love when it happens. The other day I was on social media and every so often it's an advertisement of some sort. But it was a song that came on. And the first words was everything that I needed to hear. I was just like,
wow.
It's that moment, you know, it's that moment that you don't want to miss. So sometimes we're swiping, but sometimes we'll stop swiping, no swiping. We got to stop sometimes and get inspired by that. So again, being consistent pays off because somebody is listening, somebody is tuning in. And like even with Jen Cares, I can't never tell who's watching. They could do a comment and things that sort of, I'll know. They may like it and I'll know, but you don't know. But what you do, you keep on doing it because if you show that somebody is paying attention to what you're doing, but you gotta be consistent.
Absolutely. And there's an expectation, right? I'm not saying this is on the same level at all, but, you know, why do we go to church every Sunday? You know, why do we, you know, attend Bible study every Wednesday, right? There's an expectation, right? We're expecting to hear from God, you know? So, again, it's not equal, but, you know, there's an expectation is the point I'm trying to make.
Yes. Yeah. Cause I can't, you know, I can't get like my apostle. He be dropping nuggets on my feet all the time. But that's what it is. You have an expectation that something that they say is going to inspire me. Just to be able
Yeah,
to see somebody smiling, happy. Hey, I got stuff. That's like all of you got stuff. But hey, we push them through it because one is something greater and it's something great on the other side of whatever it is that we're going through.
so true.
The Bible say, I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil. I'm going through this thing, and you're going through it with me. Why? Because we're here to encourage each other. We're here to inspire each other to know that we can fulfill our purpose, no matter what people are saying, no matter how you're feeling. If you just keep on going, it does pay off.
Love it.
Oh, goodness, that was good. All right, so my thinking in preparing or presenting this series was to highlight the importance of fulfilling our purpose and how we're all gifted to do something. And we've been talking about that all throughout tonight. So let's speak on finding your vein of success. Well, we did that too. Your vein of success. Do you feel like this is the end all be all for the Fulfill company, or is there going to be something else? What's that look like?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of else.
A lot of else.
For sure.
Okay.
No, I definitely have, some things in the works for sure that I'm, super excited about. And, I can't reveal it yet, but,
Not a problem.
but no, I definitely, this is not the end all be all. And, I definitely have some things in the pipeline, that I'm really, really excited about. So, I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Let's talk about that though, because in fulfilling your purpose, again, you got to keep some stuff to yourself. Because so many times you say something and then they work. And I was watching a show today. The girl was singing a song. Next thing you know, somebody else was singing a song. She's like, wait a minute, that's my song. Because people take it
In a heartbeat.
in a heartbeat, dust it off like they came up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so
run with
you
it.
literally got to do one of these where, you got to
Yes,
cover it up.
absolutely. See, those things growing up still work out today.
Yeah.
Still work out today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we find that, when people come to hear you, they're going to be inspired. They're going to find out what their superpowers are, how they can fulfill things. What is like the mission or the thing that keeps you going with your mission? What is your mission for the Fulfill company, rather?
Yeah. So, so we're helping young people fulfill their purpose in life by dealing with the challenges that keep them from realizing, who they were born and created to be. So.
Got it. So you talked about a success story. Has there ever been a story where it was like hard to get through to a kid and it kind of took a little bit more elbow grease than what you initially thought? You had to go a little harder to like really help them see the light bug?
Oh, all the time. No, I'm not going to act like I bat 1,000. Yeah, there are some kids who require a little bit more time, and it can be tough sometimes because I'm really only with them for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So it's a little tough, and it's a lot of times it's one time a week. I just literally come in and just I hit them with the juice and get them all fired up and energized, and they're good that day, and then maybe the next day or two. They might go back to the situation that sort of discouraged them. So one of my plans in the future is, again, without, giving you the answer, one of my plans is to, try to get to a point where I have a little bit more time with them outside of just the school, to really, kind of spend a little bit more time to, kind of help them out. But no, there's a lot of kids who are deeply troubled. And, it's not something where I can just go in and speak to them for an hour and, they're going to be healed, So, there's definitely been kids I haven't been able to really reach. And it's even tougher with the virtual world now, because a lot of times, the kids don't want to put their cameras on,
Right.
so you don't even know if they're there, to be
Right.
to be really honest with you. So, it's definitely presented more of a challenge with this virtual world. And so, I'm looking forward to being able to go back in class and really, connecting with the kids to try to help them out. So
I like that. A lot of our chosen friends are the older generation, mature generation, but sometimes they hard too, because we'll hear stuff like my story with the boat. The boat will come to save you. You're like, no, it's gonna work out. The helicopter come and say, no, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
We keep on letting stuff pass us by, and like we're getting hit with this juice every Monday at 8, but it's still up to us to pick up the pieces to put the puzzle together, so we know what it is that we're doing in our lives. So that's good. Another part that I was glad that we came back to, and what you were saying was the seeds. Like seeds are planted. Some water, some more water, Some repotted and things of that sort, but God gives increase in things of that sort. But knowing that you did your part to kind of help them, hoping that they were listening, at least they put it on a shelf somewhere so they could come back to it later on. So that's good things as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said there are more things in the pipeline, so stay tuned. And how can people connect with you though, Phill?
Sure. They can connect with me on Facebook. So my personal page is my first name, 2 L's. So it's Phill, and then my last name. Can the viewers see my name? Yeah.
Nope. Hold on.
Okay. So you can either connect with me on Facebook. I also have my company page on there, which is at the Fulfill Company, and that's spelled the word the. Fulfilled is correctly spelled FUL. P is in Paul, H is in Harry, ILL, the word company. So at the Fulfill Company, it's a play on words. And then you can also connect with me on Instagram at the Fulfill Company, same thing. And you can connect with me on Twitter at the Fulfill Company. And if you're a professional, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It's my full name. It's Philip with 2 L's. My last name, Yacinthe.
So you mean your name is Philip?
It is Philip.
Teasing. So Phill Yacinthe is who you can find on Facebook, and then the Fulfill Company. I do it right?
The Fulfill Company. Yep. Might be a lowercase t though.
Okay, hold on. Lowercase t. Oh, that is the right I. It just looked funny. So did it again. Awesome. So y'all be sure to connect in because he's posting some. How often? So the things that you're posting are the different things with the Sports Illustrated theme of encouraging people.
Yes.
I promise that is a little I. It just looks like an L next to the L's.
No, it looks like an I.
Okay. But yes, be sure to connect and follow because he's posting some great content and things of that sort. And again, my slogan is always let me introduce you, and then they do the rest. And he shared the amazing things that he's doing, so be sure to check it out. So we have another question. When you didn't account for Midwestern time difference, where can I watch the replay? Good question. We are on YouTube, so you can find Chosen Counselors on YouTube, so you can watch the replay, or you can watch the replay right here on Facebook once the tonight's episode ends. So sorry, Janice. That time change can get you, huh?
Yeah, she's in Missouri, so they're an hour behind. So
got it. Okay. So again, I do thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, drop them down. I'm going to ask Phill to help wrap us up with some words of inspiration to help us remember to fulfill our purpose.
Yeah, I would just encourage you guys to, pursue that thing that you were born and created to do. And, just believe in yourself. You're going to have doubters. You're going to have people saying that what you can do, what you can't do. And you can't listen to any of that noise. Figure out what you want to do. Figure out what you're good at. Figure out what your purpose to do. Just believe in yourself. Make a decision to go after it. And just work at it. Discipline yourself. Work at it every single day. And you can do it if you put your mind to it. You really can. But it's not going to be easy. But I'm telling you, if you put your mind to it and it's something that you're purposed to do and you were born to do, I'm telling you, you'll be able to fulfill your purpose and actually achieve those dreams and goals you have for yourself.
The pressure is on, chosen friends. Again, our theme this month is why not? We need to break the barriers to find out what's stopping us. We know what tools we have. We talked about that last week. This week, we're talking about fulfilling your purpose. Phill, I feel like you didn't tell us what our keyword was.
Fulfill.
Oh, fulfill. Got it. Thanks. I got to keep on reminding these people to help me remind people. Amen. But the key is that, again, we challenge that why not, and we figure out what it is that we want to do. We find our passion. Don't listen to the noise. Yes, we can't listen to the noise because sometimes that noise is just static.
Yeah, there's a lot of
static. The connection is bad. We want to move from that connection. Back in a couple years ago when I was a young thing, we had the TV and we used a hanger or an antenna. Again, if you were born a couple of years ago, you know this too. But what happens is when this channel wasn't coming in clearly, you had to move the static. So we can't listen to the static because that doesn't help us to hear what's on the program. You got to be able to move the antenna. You got to move yourself sometimes from some people who aren't encouraging you to do what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's all a distraction. It's all distraction.
All distraction. Oh, that was good. Oh, thank you so much, Phil. This was really good. I thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Did you have anything else?
No, I really appreciate you having me. Thank you for allowing me to hang with your chosen friends.
Yes, thank you. They are my chosen friends. Thank you so much again. I had one more question. I'm so sorry. I wanted to also talk about burnout because even if fulfilling your purpose, sorry, last question. Hopefully, I think
That's okay.
when you have burnout, how can you help yourself not to get burned out, maintain sanity and humility in the process? Because even though you enjoy what you're doing, sometimes I don't always want to hear people talking. I turn my phone on do not disturb, because that helps me. But what is your encouragement to help us to be able to maintain sanity so that we don't burn out?
Yeah, I'm very intentional about my times of peace. So that means, when I want to watch the things I do is I watch sports, I read. There are things that relax me. I work out. There are things that relax me. So that means I don't pick up the phone. That
Mm-hmm.
means that when siblings are calling, or if there's emails coming in, or if there's messages being sent, I don't. In order to keep my sanity, I don't entertain any of that. And I'm okay with that. A lot of times I used to feel bad because people used to make me feel guilty. I don't allow people to make me feel guilty. I
Mm-hmm.
guard my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And whether people like it or not, because I have to, I can't function for them and I can't function for myself if I
Mm-hmm.
don't take time for myself to keep sanity, to keep my sanity. So I'm just very intentional and I block everything out and keep time for myself to make sure that I maintain my personal sanity.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. Because again, you can't help everybody else if you're not taking care of you. So you got to make sure you good to be
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
do those 3 motivational classes back to back to back to back.
yeah. You got to look out for number one
You
for
got to look
sure.
out for number one. Oh, again, that was so, so great. Thank you again so much, Phil. Be sure to contact him if you are following me on Facebook, my personal page. Then you'll see his name, but also in the flyer, I have his information as well. Sherry said, thank you for all the great work that you are doing in this world. You are a blessing. I'm glad that you found your purpose.
Sherry's the best. Thank you, Sherry.
Valerie said, this is good information. Absolutely. So be sure to share this with another friend. Auntie Harry said, guard your peace. Absolutely. The
Guard
other
your
week somebody
peace.
was also talking about guard your sleep or protect your sleep. I'm going to sleep. I got to get some rest because I can't handle bags under my eyes. Okay. Guard your peace, protect your sleep, all that good jazz.
Yes.
Teacher said, excellent.
Thank you, Keisha.
Jean said amen. But Jean, if ever you want to practice cooking, you don't gotta practice. But I mean, if you're cooking, just holler at a sister. Auntie Harriet cooks as well, so that's good. So you
No,
never
she cooks
know
well.
doing.
That's her superpower.
That's her superpower. You gotta know what your superpower is. So that was so, so good. So again, thank you so very much. And may you have a great, great evening. Awesome. So tonight we had Phill Yacinthe of the Fulfill Company. That was so, so good. Did you enjoy it, friends? I enjoyed it, and I thank you so very much for tuning in on tonight. Let's see, who knows what our keyword is, because we have a conference coming up, our Day of Empowerment. And if you remember what our keyword was, be sure to drop it in the comments. This is a fundraising effort, so we thank you for your support. And while I'm waiting for that answer, I'm going to let you know who our special guest will be, because I'm adding 2 more people. Let's see. We will have dun, 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 Sierra and Maurice. Oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. When I tell you these people are so excited to be a part of this conference, I'm excited and so, so very grateful. So again, if anybody wants to get a free ticket, be sure to drop in the comments what that keyword of today was. So tonight was so good. I'm going to give y'all some time for that because I really took notes. Y'all should see my note cards from last week. I did a little bit better this week and got a notepad. But my recap is explore, find what you like, okay, to fulfill your purpose. 2, don't allow circumstances to stop you. Be honest with yourself. What's your superpower? There are so many lessons in failure. So guess what? Don't give up. What fulfills you? Because you could be doing it already. You could be doing it already. Friends that understand. So find friends that understand what it is you're trying to do. Sometimes you can't tell everybody everything, and that's okay. Know who you can tell and who you can't. Learn from others. I am an advocate for that one. If I don't have to do that, by all means, how can I learn it from you? He said also, I was already doing it and didn't know I was doing it. So again, what are you already doing? And then what have you been doing for years? Again, so very good. So again, it looks like Melissa is the winner. She was the first one to put fulfill. So I'm going to add you to my lovely handy dandy list of sponsored tickets. Melissa, your ticket is now taken care of. All right. So we will see you at our Day of Empowerment Conference. Thank you so very much. So again, next week, actually, no. First, don't forget our quote of the day. If you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And that is a quote by Maya Angelou. I love her. Such a phenomenal woman. Phenomenally. And today is Women's International Day. So congratulations. So I celebrate all of you chosen friends that are women. We thank you for everything that you are doing to bring to this world. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to join us next week as we will have Lady Althea Hannah, the author of Don't Give Up. For guess what? The episode is called Don't Give Up. I can't wait to tell you about how I met her and how she inspired me and how that book, Don't Give Up, goes beyond that cover, okay? So be sure to join us next week. I think that's everything that I had. Let me see what's in the comments. Yep, fulfill. Yep, you got it, Melissa. So you have that ticket, and I'll be sure to add you to the list and be sure to get it to you once tickets are released. Well, they're released now. So you'll be added on the emails to get the special link to tune in on that great day. So thank you all so much. Thank you for joining me. Again, don't be like the man on the rooftop. Identify what's in your toolbox and fulfill your purpose. See you next week, because guess what? We can't give up. Love you.